Welcome to Hello Baltimore County. I'm your host, Ellen Kobler. A pedestrian is struck by a car almost every single day in Baltimore County, and you might be surprised by who usually causes these dangerous crashes. Joining us from the county's first responder community are Assistant Fire Chief Jen Aubert-Utz and Police Officer Cynthia Spriggs. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Chief Utz, tell us a little bit about this problem that almost every single day in Baltimore County somebody gets hit. That's crazy.
Sure, Ellen. So several years ago, Baltimore County Police and Fire Departments joined forces when we noticed a trend, an upward trend in the amount of pedestrian vehicle crashes in Baltimore County. That averages around 430 crashes per year. In 2016, we just capped a year of 501 fire department responses to these preventable crashes. So we joined efforts with police and fire as our community servants to go out and begin educating the public about ways that we can prevent these crashes, because we do know in large part these are preventable. So in fire and police work, a lot of times we are seen as responsive organizations. We respond to the scene of the crash, to the scene of the crime, to the scene of the emergency or fire. But we are very much proactive organizations. We want to get out ahead of these incidences that we know are public health crisis, that we can prevent these things from happening. So that's the thought process behind the police and fire joining together and going out as a unified front to help our community stay safer.
Okay, and Officer Spriggs, tell us a little bit about the police perspective on these crashes.
Well, we responded to these crashes, and in 2016 there were 18 fatalities, and that's 18 too many. And it's very important. I mean, when we go out to these scenes, they affect us. I mean, your car versus pedestrian, the pedestrian's never going to win, whether it's minor in a parking lot or major on a road such as Pulaski, where your speeds are much higher. So it's very important, for us also to get the education out along with them on what we can do to help prevent it. And both pedestrian and driver, even if the pedestrian was the one who may have stepped in front of the vehicle, the driver may have some things that they could have done differently to avoid the situation.
Okay, and Chief Utz, give us a sense of who this is happening to, where, are there certain times of day? And I think people have some assumptions that it's the driver's fault, that this is children that are being hit. Can you share what the reality?
Sure. So our data, when we look at our data and our trending in Baltimore County, the first thing to note is that it happens all over Baltimore County. It's not isolated to one particular area. We do see what we call hotspots or heavy volume areas in every part of the county, notably on the west side in the Randallstown area. On Liberty Road, we see Reisterstown Road, we see the York Road corridor, and on the east side we see North Point, Eastern Avenue, Eastern Boulevard area as what we call a hot spot. These crashes occur every day of the week, as you pointed out earlier. It happens every day, every night, doesn't matter, they're not isolated. What we do definitively see is that between 4 p.m. and 6 p.m. is when we have the highest impact or peak demand call volume for these types of incidents in Baltimore County.
So basically students are out of school, people are leaving work, they're hurrying to get where they want to go.
Right, so anecdotally we believe that what's happening here is that people are moving at those times of day. So people are moving on increased foot traffic, increased motor vehicle traffic, they're getting off of work, out of school, they're in transit via their personal vehicle, by foot, by bus lines. They'll get off off of their bus route. Instead of going to the intersection and crossing at a marked crosswalk, they'll just cross mid-block. And that's us, that's human behavior, that's people at its best. We take the path of least resistance, and so we see that. We also see distracted walking, distracted driving as an issue. The earbuds are in, they can't hear, they're zoned out, they're listening to their music, they're looking at their phone, they're reading stories, they're looking at text messages. So all these things combined, we believe, is a collaborative sort of impact on why we're seeing such a high volume.
Okay, Officer Spriggs, what do you want people to do?
To use the crosswalks. I mean, as simple as that sounds, is to use the crosswalks. It's the safest, but it's also the law. And when there is not a crosswalk in sight, then you are allowed to cross the road, but you have to make sure that you're not illegally doing it or crossing without yielding to the driver. As the chief said, we do take the path of least resistance. So even though the crosswalk may be 190 feet, most people are going to want to go, but take that 190 feet to go up, go to that crosswalk, push the signal, activate the lights, and cross when it's safe. Because between a pedestrian and a car, the pedestrian is just not going to win.
Okay, well, thank you both so much for coming in to alert us to this very real and very dangerous problem.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So please take the extra seconds to use the crosswalk and wait for the signal. Thank you for watching Hello Baltimore County, and remember, you can connect with Baltimore County government on Facebook and Twitter. Be safe out there.